0 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds at a quiet family dinner in Franklin. Everything snapped. One moment I was passing the mashed potatoes. The next my parents looked straight at me and said, "Nobody needs your money or you." The room didn't breathe. My sister nodded, almost relieved to finally say it out loud. I felt the air collapse around me like the whole table had already rehearsed this moment without me. I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I stayed silent. Because while they thought they were cutting me out, they had no idea what that silence really meant or what I 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 35 seconds was about to do next. And trust me, none of them saw it coming. I used to believe that distance was the only thing standing between me and a normal family. Living in San Francisco, working long hours as a software engineer, I told myself I was just too busy, too far away, too caught up in deadlines to be present the way they wanted. But the truth sat deeper than that, buried under years of unspoken expectations and the kind of history families pretend to forget. Growing up in Franklin, life never felt easy. Our small house always 0 hours, 1 minute, and 11 seconds smelled like motor oil from Dad's workload and fabric softener from Mom's quilts. Money was tight enough that even the walls seemed to hold their breath. I remember the nights when the recession hit hardest. Mom whispering about overdue bills, Dad pacing the hallway, and me pretending to sleep while I listened through the thin drywall. Back then, I thought if I worked hard enough, I could pull us out of that darkness somehow. Madison, my younger sister, used to crawl into my bed whenever the shouting got loud. She'd clutch my arm 0 hours, 1 minute, and 43 seconds and ask, "We're not going to lose the house, right?" I'd tell her no, even when I wasn't sure myself. I was 12, she was 10, and I somehow decided it was my job to carry her fears along with my own. That promise stuck to me like a second skin. School became my escape. I studied under a flashlight so I wouldn't wake her up. Teachers pushed me toward computers, saying I had a mind built for solving chaos. By high school, I was winning coding competitions and dreaming of a life bigger than Franklin one without the weight of past due notices 0 hours to minutes and 15 seconds or cold dinners eaten in silence. When I earned a scholarship and left for the city, I carried more than luggage. I carried guilt and a sense that I was leaving Madison behind in the very storm I'd promised to shield her from. But I didn't disappear. Every paycheck I earned felt like a new chance to fix something back home. The cracked pipes, the leaking roof, the repairs Dad couldn't afford. I sent money quietly without ceremony because that was how love operated in our family. Unseen, unspoken, expected. Madison had dreams, 0 hours to minutes and 48 seconds too. A small boutique, a place to sell her designs, something she'd talked about since she was a kid. Helping her felt like fulfilling that childhood promise in a way words never could. A loan here, a payment there, and eventually an SUV to help her run the business. Somewhere along the way, though, Madison's gratitude faded into something sharper. She'd joke about my big city life or call my help charity. Dad bristled whenever I made an offer to fix something. Mom shifted her tone whenever I mentioned visiting as if my 0 hours, 3 minutes, and 20 seconds presence was an inconvenience, not help. Still, I hoped that family dinner would be different. A chance to reset, a chance to feel like I still belonged. But I misread everything. Every silence, every shrug, every tight smile. And by the time I realized the truth, the damage had already been waiting for me at that dinner table. The moment I walked into my parents' dining room that night, something felt off. Not loud, not obvious, just a heaviness, like the air had already decided what was going to happen before I even took my seat. Mama O, 3 to 55, barely looked up when I came in. Dad gave a stiff nod. Madison flashed a smile that didn't reach her eyes, the same practiced one she used when she wanted to hide irritation behind politeness. I tried to ignore it. I asked about work, about the boutique, about how they'd been holding up. Each answer was short-clipped like they were checking off boxes in a script they didn't want to perform. At one point, Madison made a comment about my hair, so corporate with that sly little tone that made it sound like a compliment. But 0 hours for minutes and 25 seconds felt like a slap. Dad muttered something about me being busy in the city, and Mom sighed dramatically when I offered to help with a few repairs around the house. It wasn't new. These little stings had been simmering for years, but tonight they were sharper, more deliberate, and I couldn't shake the feeling that they'd been rehearsing something without me. Dinner was served, and for a few minutes, everyone pretended to be normal. Forks scraped plates, glasses clinketed. Madison talked about her store being community 0 hours for minutes and 56 seconds supported. Her words pointed as if rewriting history right in front of me. I almost corrected her but swallowed it. I told myself I came to reconnect, not to argue. Then it happened. Dad set down his fork. The sound was too loud in the quiet room. He looked straight at me, expression hard, almost resentful. "We don't need your money, Kimberly." Mom didn't miss a beat. "Or you," she added the words sliding out smooth practiced. For a second, I just blinked. I thought I misheard. My ears rang. My chest tightened. The room 0 hours 5 minutes and 34 seconds tilted ever so slightly. But then Madison leaned back in her chair, crossed her arms, and said it. "She's right. Nobody needs your money or you." It wasn't a whisper. It wasn't hesitation. It was agreement. Cold, final, like she'd been waiting for someone else to say it first. I looked around the table, searching for any flicker of doubt, any sign that someone might speak up for me. But every pair of eyes avoided mine. That was the moment everything snapped. Not because they rejected me, but because I finally understood they'd already decided I 0 hours 6 minutes and 9 seconds didn't belong. And they decided it long before I ever sat down at that table. I didn't remember standing up from the table. One moment Madison's words were echoing in my head, and the next I was outside on the porch breathing in the cold Tennessee night as if it could wash the sting off my skin. The air tasted like winter. Sharp metallic nothing, like the warmth I used to imagine when I pictured home. I leaned against the railing, letting the silence settle. I stayed silent, not because I agreed with them, but because 0 hours 6 minutes and 44 seconds if I opened my mouth, I wasn't sure whether I would scream or break. I walked to my car without looking back. No one followed. Not Mom, not Dad, not Madison. For years, I had been their emergency fund, their fixer, their safety net. And now, in the moment I needed even an ounce of empathy, the entire table stayed seated, like my absence made dinner easier. At the hotel, the room felt too clean, too quiet, like a blank page I didn't know how to fill. I sat on the edge of the bed, replaying their voices, their 0 hours 7 minutes and 20 seconds expressionless faces. The way Madison didn't even flinch when she echoed, "Nobody needs you." I pressed my palms against my eyes until stars burst. Then my phone buzzed. Elena Cook. She wasn't someone who called casually. She knew I didn't like surprises. I answered with a shaky breath. "Kim, did something happen tonight?" Her voice was cautious, almost bracing. I swallowed. "Why, you need to check Madison's Instagram right now." My stomach tightened. I opened the app, searched my sister's page, and felt the last bit of 0 hours 7 minutes and 56 seconds hope drain out of me. There she was, standing inside her boutique, smiling like her life was a fairy tale, captioned, "Built this empire from nothing." Self-made and proud. Post after post said the same thing. No mention of the payments I'd sent home. No mention of the inventory loan. No mention of the SUV she drove that was still under my name. Just Madison, the town's self-made star, basking in praise that wasn't hers alone. "That's not even the worst part," Elena said. Her friend Erica commented that she never took a handout. People 0 hours 8 minutes and 30 seconds in Franklin believe every word. Something in me shifted. The anger I felt at dinner sharpened, crystallized into clarity. I wasn't just rejected. I was erased. I opened my laptop. My fingers hovered above the keyboard, trembling. but not from hurt anymore. From certainty. If they didn't need my money, if they didn't need me, then I didn't need to keep holding everything together. I searched for the SUV's title first, then the loan papers for Madison's store, payments, bills, transfers. Years of quiet support staring back at me in cold. Undeniable 0 hours 9 minutes and 7 seconds lines. And for the first time that night, I didn't cry. I didn't fall apart. I just sat there breathing steady, realizing something they never expected. Silence wasn't surrender. It was the beginning of my pushback. I barely slept that night, not because I was crying. Those tears had dried hours ago, but because my mind had shifted into a place I hadn't visited in years, a place of precision, strategy, clarity. The same part of me that once solved coding puzzles at midnight now examined every thread of my family's narrative 0 hours 9 minutes and 43 seconds and realized exactly where to pull. By sunrise, the sky outside my hotel window was washed in pale orange. Franklin was waking up coffee brewing trucks, starting people strolling into diners, but I felt strangely detached, as if I were observing someone else's town, someone else's life. I didn't bother going to my parents' house. I opened my laptop instead. Step 1. The SUV. The black SUV Madison loved flaunting posing next to it for her girl boss posts was still legally under my name. I had bought it outright, thinking it would help her 0 hours 10 minutes and 18 seconds deliver inventory, attend vendor markets, and build her boutique. I remember the look on her face when I handed her the keys. Gratitude, the kind you can't fake. Funny how quickly that kind of gratitude erodes when pride takes over.